Hello, and welcome to this semester's first QUTV After Hours. I'm Stephen Philippi, and today we have a lot of new faces joining us on the show today. Would you all like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Allison Malone, a reporter for QUTV.
I'm Sarah Belmont, the producer of our campus news update shows.
And I'm Colleen McCormick. I'm also a QUTV reporter.
Well, let's jump right into the headlines. As you have all heard, the world is on high alert due to the recent Ebola outbreak. As each day passes, it seems more Americans are testing positive for the disease and are being brought to the U.S. for emergency treatment. Are you worried about the spread of Ebola in America, guys? What are your guys' thoughts?
Definitely. I'm definitely hesitant to see what's going to happen next. It's especially all these people coming from different countries. It's a great deal that it can spread and go into other countries, I think.
With today's advancements in transportation, how much we travel by plane, it is really terrifying to think about how many people from other countries are coming into the U.S. and then out of the U.S. into everywhere else. So the spread of the disease is inevitable unless we cut off borders completely, which is next to impossible because everyone's everywhere. It's next to impossible to stop the spread of the disease, although Ebola isn't necessarily the easiest thing to spread since, you know, it takes some sort of like bodily fluid to spread to someone else. So it concerns me, but not to the extent where I think that everyone in the U.S. is going to die from it.
Absolutely. And you know, it seems that President Obama has declined, I believe that all American flights that carry passengers from Africa, he says that there was a rumor going around saying that Obama was banning those flights from entering America from Africa. And it turns out that that's not true, and he's allowing all those African flights in order to enter America. So there is still, it seems, a high risk for Ebola in order to still enter, as you were saying. But Colin.
I was kind of on the same page as Sarah that I don't really think it's a huge threat. I think it's definitely scary for sure, but I don't necessarily think it's a huge threat because we have such an advancement in medicine that even just this outbreak alone, more people have survived than they have in the past. So I believe that the advancement of medicine, especially in the U.S., is great enough that even if it does spread more, which it probably will spread a little bit more, I think we'll be able to conquer it.
Absolutely, and I think that if the CDC starts bringing awareness towards their cause in order to fight Ebola, just like Breast Cancer Month awareness of all this month has been raising money and support towards breast cancer and finding a cure. You know, I think if the CDC does that, I think that we'd have a pretty good shot of curing this Ebola outbreak. But now, switching gears now to Halloween. It's a spooky holiday filled with jack-o'-lanterns, trick-or-treating, and lots of candy. As college students, how has Halloween changed for you guys since back in the old days, back in kindergarten and grade school and maybe junior high? How has Halloween changed for things in college?
Well, I would say that Halloween is best, second only to being like a child and going trick-or-treating, it is best in college. And that's just because we just all have a lot of fun. It's fun to be with all of your friends. It's like one of the few holidays that you're actually on campus for. So you get to celebrate something with your college roommates and with your friends. And I just think Halloween is just so much fun. I really enjoy all the decorations and everything.
Absolutely. Halloween is my favorite holiday. I'm a huge horror film fan and everything spooky. And Halloween, again, is one of those great holidays where we're actually in school for it. And this year it's on a Friday, which is even better. So we can actually have fun with our friends, go see a movie. And I know, like, for our sorority, personally, that I'm affiliated with, we do philanthropic work on Halloween. So it's also a little bit different than in grade school where it's just candy, candy, candy. We're raising awareness for other people. So
Sure, absolutely.
It's definitely exciting. I love Halloween. Like you were saying, I'm a horror fanatic, so I love those movies. Also, just being in college, you never get too old for Halloween to dress up. So that's what I love about it. I'm going to be actually traveling, going to another school. And it's a lot of parties, have a lot of fun. So always fun to have Halloween when it comes around.
Sure, absolutely. You know, I was talking to a friend before the show started, and we were talking about the difference between thriller movies and gory movies, which were both scary movies. They both have that scary element, but they're both definitely different genres of horror, it seems. Do you guys have a preference between that, between the gorier movies or the just thriller ones? What do you guys think?
I don't do blood, so I can't do gory movies, but I'm not a huge fan of horror movies either, but if I had to choose between the two, it'd definitely be horror.
I love gory
Yeah.
movies. Yeah, it's just a lot more scarier and just makes you cringe. I kind of like that.
Absolutely.
weirdly.
Well, yeah.
Same here. I'm more of a gore fan. The
Yeah.
grosser, the better, especially for Halloween.
Sure. Well, that's great. Well, we can't talk about Halloween without talking about scary movies, and QUTV is running classic horror films all month long on Channel 97. Here to talk about some underrated horror films you might want to check out this season is QTV's executive producer, Travis Yates. Travis, how are we doing today?
Hi guys, how are you? Nice to join you on this side of the camera. We were talking about films earlier. I have a list of not necessarily the most popular horror films that we have, but more some underrated films. You might not have heard of. Some are a little older, so you guys might not have checked them out. But if we go to my list, I'll go through them here. The first film is called Trick or Treat. It was made in 2007. This is an independent film. I don't even think it got a theatrical release.
Really?
And it's really developed a cult following. It's a collection of stories all based in the same town. Sarah's nodding. I think she's
Absolutely,
seen it.
I've seen it.
And it's all tied together by this scary little boy named Sam who wanders around town in these tattered pajamas and a mask that kind of looks like a pumpkin face, and he ties it all together in a very disturbing ending. So it's definitely one to check out. Trick or Treat. Easy to find at any DVD rental store. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or not. The next one is The Evil Dead. This is a classic, a cult classic, of course. Not the recent remake, but we're talking 1981. This was the directorial debut of Sam Raimi. Also put Bruce Campbell on the map. So it's about a group of college students in the Midwest that travel to a remote
You're
location.
scaring me already,
Yep,
Travis.
and they find this book of demonic tales, and they start reading from it, and it brings up all sorts of spirits to life, and so they're stuck out in this cabin trying to fight off and ward off the spirits. So very gruesome. It's a bloodbath. You were talking about bloody. If you want, axes and hands cut off, this has it all. So The Evil Dead is good. The last three are three that I recommend you watch late at night, by yourself, with the lights off. The first one is The Fourth Kind. Now, it's an alien abduction film, so it's, depending on if you believe in that stuff, it might be kind of hokey, but the way it's told, you'll probably go to the internet and do a lot of research on it afterwards to find out what's going on with this film. It's got some real footage in quotes, interspersed with the actual film itself, and it leaves you with more questions than answers, and so those are always fun.
And that was based off of a true story, isn't it?
Well, you'll have to
Supposedly.
watch to find out and then do the research for yourself. Right. Okay. The second to last film is In the Mouth of Madness. This is from 1994. None of you have probably heard of this. It's very rare. It's the basic plot summary is an insurance investigator is hired by a publishing company to go in search of a lost author to retrieve his manuscript that he owes the publishing company. And so as the insurance investigator goes down the rabbit hole in search of this author, he starts to question his own sanity. So it's as you're watching it, you start to question your own sanity. So it's a tale that, again, watch late at night by yourself,
Sure.
and then you'll be wondering, why am I watching this at home by myself? When I was thinking of this list, I was at home, and it was late, and everyone was asleep, and the hairs on my neck started standing up, especially when this last film, 2008, The Strangers,
Yeah, sure.
Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman. Now, this was, again, kind of based on real events. It's so suspenseful. There's really most of the horror, the scary stuff happens at the very end, but it's the build up to that is just truly incredible, and brilliant use of sound to build the suspense. And after watching it, every little creak in your house, in your apartment, in your dorm room, will leave you thinking, what was that? Who's there? And then you want to go check it. So if you watch one movie this Halloween season, I recommend The Strangers, and make sure you watch it with the lights out and be at home alone.
All
It's
right.
awesome.
Well, thanks, Travis. We
You
have
got it.
we now have some movies in order to give us some goosebumps over the Halloween
Absolutely.
season. So that's great.
Yes.
That's fantastic. We
Yep.
love a good horror. So that's great. Thanks
Great.
for joining us.
You got it.
Great. Well, from the silver screen to the small screen, fall marks the time of year when most popular TV shows come back on air, as well as a host of new shows. What shows are you guys looking forward to this season? Personally, I've been watching Gotham. It's a new take on the Batman series. I'm kind of a Batman nerd myself, and I really like the show. It seems like it's got a pretty good start to it. Any shows that you guys are watching?
Personally, I've seen an episode or two so far of How to Get Away with Murder. And I know that was advertised quite a bit, and it's not too bad. I don't necessarily watch new fall TV shows to see how good they are, but to see which ones will do absolutely horribly.
And how the ratings will go.
How the
Yeah,
ratings will
sure.
go. And I was looking up earlier, and I found one called Jane the Virgin. It's about a virgin named Jane who gets artificially inseminated by accident at the doctor, and it gets even better. The baby's father is her old crush from like high school or college, but is also her new boss.
Oh my
So
goodness.
it is the plot is just so
Are you sure this doesn't belong in the horror list of movies that Travis was talking about
exactly.
earlier?
It's just so unfathomable that I can't even see it lasting two shows.
Oh goodness.
So,
Well, maybe that's a Halloween flick.
yeah.
Maybe. Okay.
It's this show, I don't know if you guys heard of it, Supernatural.
Mhm.
I haven't heard of it.
Mhm.
It's the season 10. It's been around for about 9 years.
Yeah.
It's about two brothers, and they basically defeat demon, ghostly, supernatural things. So I've been watching that for a very long time. It's a really good show, high ratings, everything about it. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the final season of Glee. Yes, I am one of those nerds
gleek?
that
Is that what it's called?
gleek,
With the
one
K
of
in it?
those
Okay.
gleeks. I'm a musical theater person, so I really love the music and the singing and the dancing. And even though the plot's a little bit, but I like the songs in it.
Sure.
I'm also, this isn't a new show by any means, but Gilmore Girls just came out on Netflix, and I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes, but I just started watching it from season 1, from the beginning, and I'm really excited to get through the entire series, like over Christmas break and over fall break. I know it's not a new show, but I'm really excited for it anyway.
You know, I have a lot of friends who they're very masculine men, and they still watch Gilmore Girls, and they still get hooked every single time. And I was like, oh, really? I'm not sure if I'm going to check this out or not. So I don't know. But Gilmore Girls, all right.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, we'll wrap up on a cold note. According to the Old Farmer's Almanac, this year's winter is supposed to be another Arctic one, maybe even historic. Do you think that this is accurate? How will you guys prepare? I know last year's winter, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't exactly enjoyable either. How are you guys going to prepare? You think?
I mean, last year was rough. If we have another winter this year like last year, it's definitely going to be difficult, especially I know that last year they had a salt shortage. So if they have another salt shortage this year, that's going to be very difficult, especially for commuter students
I
who have
agree.
to drive to school and everything like that. I don't really know for sure whether or not it will be as bad because there's some conflicting views on that, but I really hope it's not, that's for sure.
Right, right. I hear you.
Right, and we talk about how cold this winter is supposed to be from like the Old Farmer's Almanac, which is somewhere in the range of like 80 to 88% accurate. And last year they predicted a very cold and snowy winter as well, and that was completely true. So it worries me definitely, being a clumsy person that I am. The school doesn't necessarily do the greatest job, again, with the salt shortage, making sure everywhere is nice and cleaned off and dry. I fell about somewhere in the 20-ish ranges last year, so we'll see if
Absolutely.
that happens again. So I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, maybe that's a story for the future. The salt shortage on QU's campus. That's
Absolutely.
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I just say just wear good wear. Being from Chicago, you know, Windy City, everybody's like, you should be used to it. I'm still not used to it. It's still really cold to me. A good thing about it is that we do get some days off for school. That's a good thing. But yeah, it should be a bad winter. So.
Yeah, and you know, the Farmer's Almanac has been around for more than a century, that's for sure. And they've always been very accurate. And with all of today's high-tech meteorological, is that the right word? I'm the weatherman, I should know. But ultimately, it seems that the Farmer's Almanac seems to be proven time and time again that it's very accurate. So we'll see where it takes us this year.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's it for this edition of QUTV's After Hours. And as always, remember to tune in on Facebook or Channel 97 on the Quincy University campus. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us.